we're talking about having sewed up the playoffs at this particular point. I'm going to talk through this as we do the rankings. But at number 8, the Memphis Showboats for me. The Showboats came up just short, right? On the road, suffer another loss. It felt like they had something kind of sort of going with Josh Love a little bit later in the game, just came up a little short. Dawood Davis, though, really has made a name for himself in this league. It would not shock me to find out that he is all USFL. He had 3 catches for 86 yards and both of the Showboats scores in their loss to the Michigan Panthers. Number 7 on the list, I got the Houston Roughnecks. That's CJ Johnson's squad. It just feels like this team has never actually figured out how to complete a full game. Plenty of talent all over the field. I really enjoy the roster, but you got to get those parts to equal something like a sum. Forget greater than the sum of their parts. I just need to see it from first quarter to second quarter, third quarter to fourth quarter. They haven't been able to do that. And already we're talking about guys that are trying to get back in the NFL, so they're going to keep playing to the whistle to get this good film. But you could see what they were building at the start and how it didn't really come into fruition through these first 8 weeks. Maybe they can put together a couple of wins and get back on a winning streak going into 2025. Number 6 on the list, the Arlington Renegades. After scoring a league-high 47 points to get their first win, they look anemic once again. They took an L to San Antonio and really just managed 15 points after scoring 47 last week. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what it is that's going on with Bob Stoops' group, because I see the players, I see the talent, not unlike the Houston Roughnecks, and I just can't quite put my finger on what they can't figure out. Now, some of this I think is you have Luis Perez, which means you're going to run a very particular kind of offense. I think a West Coast offense is going to be much more to his speed. He's not the most mobile guy, but he does make great decisions at the line of scrimmage, and he gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He's very accurate. You also got some outstanding skill players. Davion Smith in the backfield being one of those. Deontay Burnett, another. You got dudes, right? Sal Cannella. And in the defense, I just wanted Jay Hayes to figure this thing out. It hasn't happened for them. I'm sure Bob Stoops would love to start this season over again because they've been in damn near every game that they have played this season. They still are 1-7. Number 5 on the list for me, the DC Defenders. They fall to 3-5. This team seems to go with Jordan Ta'amu, and I think this is the 3rd time, maybe the 4th time actually, that I've seen Jordan Ta'amu get knocked out of at least one play, if not the game. And it couldn't have come at a worse time for the DC Defenders, who were fighting for their playoff lives against the St. Louis Battlehawks, and Ta'amu led them to what was going to be an opportunity to win the game. They were up 21-20 with just a few minutes left to go in the game, and he got knocked out, which meant they had to bring on Jalen McClendon on a 4th and 24. So your best player is not on the field, and he's your quarterback on a 4th and 24, and that went about the way that you thought it might go. The DC Defenders fall to 3-5. This is a team that went 9-1 last year, right? And really was one of the teams to keep your eye on to make the playoff. As a matter of fact, I think you would have penciled them in at the start of the season. Looking at it 8 weeks in, 3-5. Number 4 on the list, I have the San Antonio Brahmas up to 6-2, and this is where we get separation, right? This is where we get separation. The Brahmas had over 300 yards of offense in the first half of their win. Quentin Dormady looked great. He went 10 to 13 for 250 in the first half alone with 2 TDs, finished with over 300 yards passing. And then Anthony McFarland actually showed the dude that he was at Maryland. He had a breakout game, but in the receiving game, right? He had over 100 yards receiving, a couple of tutties over there. And then Cody Latimer, still that dude for them. He's their number 1 target. The prototypical Y in a run and shoot in a shotgun. Reminds me a lot of Jason Morrow at Texas Tech. That's a throwback pull for some of y'all, but you'll understand what I'm getting at. He's a guy that was a wide receiver that they converted to a tight end, and you could see why. He's getting those matchups against linebackers and safeties, exploiting them, had 6 catches for 116 yards in their 20-15 win. Jordan Mosley, safety for the Brahmas. I think that dude is a shoo-in to be all USFL. He leads the league in tackles with 63 through 8 weeks. Number 4 on the list, I got the St. Louis Battlehawks, 6-2. Manny Wilkins gets his first start as a quarterback in 6 years. This is since Arizona State because of the injury to A.J. McCarron, and he is not afraid to wiggle. They are not the same, all right? Manny was more than prepared to absolutely go do some things in the open field, and I had a lot of fun watching him play. Had 205 total yards, 79 of which were on the ground in their 26-21 win at the Dome at America's Center. Say that 5 times fast. And then former Clemson running back Wayne Gallman really personifies what the UFL is about for me. It has bona fide stars in college football, right? Wayne Gallman was a great tailback on a national championship Clemson team, a 4th-round pick who backed up Saquon Barkley and had his first multi-TD game since 2020 when he was backing up Saquon Barkley, the New York Giants, but also played special teams. Had a great tackle on what was a fake punt where he needed to be alert, was on kickoff. He's that kind of player because the roster is so small. You got to be able to fill it out with dudes that can do everything. And throw a rock, I hit all conference. Throw another rock, I hit All-American. Throw another rock, I hit a national champ. He is really what this league is all about. For Anthony Beck, he got to answer a question about Manny Wilkins. You get to find out what you have. And now they get to count themselves as one of the teams that have not one, but two guys at quarterback that they can depend on to go win them football games. And I don't think it is a small fact that we've had 21 dudes play quarterback in this league. 21. Okay? So far, Jordan Ta'amu is the only dude that has made a start in all 8 weeks. It's really difficult to find a dude that you could trust back there, and it's really hard to keep that dude healthy. And if you got 2 of those, you count your blessings. Not to mention, Anthony Beck has the benefit of playing in the best pro football spring atmosphere we've ever seen. I mean, they get 35,000 people to show up there, and now that they have made the playoffs with the San Antonio Brahmas, all they got to do is win out, and they're going to get to host their XFL Conference Championship game. And then, if they won that game, they get to host the inaugural UFL Championship game. I've never seen such a home field advantage there for the taking, right? You essentially get to play both of your playoff games for the championship at your home, where you're going to put in probably 40,000 at a minimum, maybe 50,000 people to show up to see if you can't pull this thing off, especially if it ends up being a rematch against the, best team in the league. We'll talk about here in a little bit. Very excited about what Anthony Beck's Battlehawks are going to look like the next couple of weeks, what they're going to try to do, how healthy they're going to try to get A.J. McCarron. Remember, it's not just A.J. McCarron that was out. It was also Ja'Cour Pearson and Marcel Aitman. So that's 2 of your 3 best wide receivers and your starting quarterback, right? To say nothing of needing to use Wayne Gallman because Mateo Durant, a guy that was rushing for 100 yards early in the season, he wasn't there either. Number 2 on the list when we went to 3. Michigan Panthers, I got them at 62. The reason I had the Panthers ahead of Battlehawks is pretty cut and dry to me. The Panthers beat the Battlehawks. That simple, right? We had the interconference. We've seen the USFL run this thing, right? And the Panthers continue to do what they do. Now, what was interesting about this team is we all thought that it was really going to be about E.J. Perry and what he could do on offense. Then Mike Nolan's defense is going to do what it does. Turns out they got 4 different dudes that could play quarterback for the Michigan Panthers. And this was no different. So much so that they swapped series with former Michigan State quarterback Brian Lewerke and former Virginia quarterback Bryce Perkins, right? Yes, that Bryce Perkins, that dude that brought Virginia all the way back and was playing for the Rams not too long ago. And then you had the injury to Wes Hills, knocked him out for the rest of the game. Matt Colburn said, it's all right, I got it. I'm going to go for 93 yards on 23 rushes, and I'm going to absolutely hand the keys back to the defense that had 4 sacks and an interception in their win. They've been playing great defensively. They've also got an absolute weapon at place kicker in Jake Bates. I really like their chances to try to do something. Of all these teams, right? Try to do something in the playoffs. Now, a lot of this is going to be, do you have to go to protective or do you get to go to Ford Field? Now, you're going to need 2 losses, right? And you're going to need to win against Birmingham to do that. But that's a good way to talk about the Birmingham Stallions, who are at number 1. 8-0. Have not lost a football game since May 13th, 2023. That's my daddy's birthday, by the way. Shout out to my daddy. Both my mama born on May 9th. My daddy born on May 13th. Mother's Day is right in the middle. Your boy just be broke this time of year, right? But you know, when I can bet that money on the Birmingham Stallions, I know I'm going to make a little grip. Look, it's really remarkable what they've been able to do in Birmingham. Skip Holtz, Zach Potter, John Chavis, that real great triumvirate. I can't say enough good things about what they've been able to do. And they got what I think is the MVP at quarterback, but also a team that put up 35 yet again in a win against Houston, a team that they should have beaten and then beat going away. Now, it got tighter than it should have been in the second half. I'm sure Skip Holtz had some words about that, but it's a team that really has lived to its 1-0 mentality. A lot of coaches say that. A lot of coaches can't follow through on that because when you go 1-0 mentality, I expect you to be undefeated. I don't expect you to lose no games, ever. You said we're going to go 1-0 this week, then go 1-0, right? That's what I'm saying. Now, when James Franklin says we're going to go 1-0 each and every week, I don't know about that, dog. I don't know about that. I got to ask, you got Michigan on the schedule? You got Ohio State on the schedule? With Birmingham, it doesn't seem to matter. In a league that is the best of the 2 legacy leagues, the XFL and the USFL, the Birmingham Stallions are cooking with gas, all right? 14-0 dating back to last year. Hell, one more game, they win a national championship in the college football arena, which is where I'm usually gonna be, all right? If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.